This is the letter I wrote to myself on the night I thought the story was over. If you, the 25-year-old version of me, are hearing this, then stop whatever you're doing. Close the door, turn off the phone, and listen to the man who walked through the fire you're standing in front of right now. Part 1, The Night It All Began, October 17th, 2010. I'm sitting on a milk crate in the back room of a 2-bedroom duplex off Gratiot Avenue, East Side Detroit. The ceiling leaks in 3 places, dripping steadily like a reminder of my failures. My phone had just died from an unpaid bill, cutting me off from the world. Earlier that day at 3 p.m., I'd been fired from the only job I had, the one I'd clung to like a lifeline. Then at 6 p.m., she texted those 3 devastating words: "I need space." By 9 p.m., I was convinced I was the biggest failure alive, a man with no direction, no love, and no hope. I remember every detail vividly: the smell of mildew hanging in the air, the taste of cheap Little Caesars I'd eaten for the 3rd day in a row, the sound of Mrs. Kowalski's chihuahua yapping through the thin walls. It felt like the end of everything. But here I am, 15 years later, writing this from the future to tell you one thing first. Do not believe the story you're telling yourself that night. That story is a liar, and it's trying to kill the only thing that matters: your ability to choose what happens next. As I sat there in the darkness, I began to realize that the pain wasn't just destroying me, it was reshaping me. If only I could learn to listen to it. That night I didn't sleep. I paced the tiny room like a caged animal, my mind replaying every mistake I'd ever made. I thought about the dreams I had when I first moved to the city, big plans of becoming someone important, of building a life that would make my parents proud. But reality had slapped me hard, and I was left with nothing but regret and self-pity. I even considered packing a bag and disappearing, maybe heading north to the UP or south to Florida, anywhere but here. Yet something inside me, a tiny spark I couldn't name, refused to let go. It whispered that this wasn't the end, that there was a way through if I could just stop fighting the fall and start learning from it. Part 2, The First Lesson from the Abyss. Let's go back to that night and unpack the hardest truth I learned in those early hours. I felt worthless, utterly humiliated, and that feeling was as real as the rain outside my window. But the thought that followed, "I am worthless," that wasn't a fact. It was just a story my mind was spinning into chaos. The ancient Stoics, those wise souls like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, called these mental flashes fantasiae, or impressions, the first rough sketches our thoughts draw when life hits hard. My job back then, and yours now, wasn't to erase them or pretend they didn't exist. No, it was to interrogate them like a judge in a courtroom. Is this true? Is this useful? I remember grabbing a scrap of paper that night, maybe the back of an eviction notice, and scribbling down the sentences that haunted me. I'm not good enough. Nobody needs me. It's too late. Beside each one, I forced myself to write. This is a feeling, not evidence. It was simple, almost childish, but in those 5 minutes, the weight in my chest lightened by what felt like 30%. I've repeated that ritual thousands of times since, 4,382 to be exact, and it still pulls me back from the edge every time. That night taught me that feelings come and go like storms, but facts endure only if we let them take root. By questioning them, I began to reclaim my mind from the whirlwind, turning despair into something I could work with, something that could guide me forward instead of holding me down. But it wasn't just about writing. I started to notice patterns in my thoughts, how they looped like a broken record, feeding on each other until they grew monstrous. I realized that the mind, left unchecked, is a factory of fiction, producing tales of doom that feel undeniable in the moment. To break the cycle, I began a nightly review, a practice I borrowed from the Stoics. Before bed, I'd ask myself 3 questions. What went well today, even if small? What didn't? What can I improve tomorrow? At first, the answers were bleak. Nothing went well, everything failed, no improvements possible. But over weeks, tiny truths emerged. I'd managed to eat, to breathe, to keep going. Those small acknowledgments became the foundation for rebuilding trust in myself, proving that even in the abyss, there was solid ground if I looked closely enough. Part 3, Shattering the Illusion. As the hours ticked by in that dim room, I confronted another painful realization. I hadn't lost my future that day. I'd only lost the illusion I'd built around it. I'd always assumed life owed me a smooth path, a job that would last forever, a love that never wavered, a body that wouldn't break, a reputation that couldn't crack. But illusions are fragile things, and when they shatter, they leave sharp edges that cut deep. Reality, on the other hand, doesn't shatter, it just is, unyielding and honest. I thought of Marcus Aurelius, scribbling in his tent while the Roman Empire crumbled around him. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. My layoffs, my breakups, my empty bank account, they were all outside events, storms raging beyond my walls. But my mind, that was the only kingdom I truly ruled. I started governing it not as a victim pleading for mercy, but as a king issuing decrees. A year later, in 2011, I invented a simple practice that became my anchor. Every Sunday night, I divide a page in my journal into 2 columns. On the left, things I cannot control this week, like my boss's mood, her final decision, the twists of the economy. On the right, things I can control, how early I wake, what books I read, how kindly I speak to the cashier at the corner store. I draw a thick line between them, then burn the left side over a candle, watching the ashes fall. The right side went into my pocket, a reminder of my true power. I still do this every Sunday, and the fire still smells of liberation. This practice didn't just clarify my priorities, it transformed how I faced uncertainty. In the months after that night, I applied for dozens of jobs, each rejection a fresh wound. But with my dichotomy of control in my pocket, I focused on what I could do: tailoring resumes, practicing interviews, learning new skills online with whatever free Wi-Fi I could find at the public library. One evening in a Tim Hortons, using their connection, I stumbled upon a freelance gig that paid just enough to cover rent. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a foothold. From there, I built slowly, taking on more projects, networking in online forums, turning uncontrollables into opportunities by mastering what was in my grasp. The illusion of a perfect life faded, replaced by the reality of a resilient one, forged in the fires of necessity. Part 4, The Dawn Ritual That Rebuilt Me. When the first light of dawn crept through my window that morning, I knew I needed something solid to hold on to, a ritual that belonged to no one but me, a quiet rebellion against the chaos. Starting at 5:30 a.m., before the city stirred and the world began its shouting, I built a routine that became my foundation. First, I'd splash cold water on my face for a full 60 seconds, not in a luxurious shower, but right there at the rusty sink. It was a deliberate choice of discomfort, a message to my nervous system. I choose this before life forces worse upon me. Next, I'd write one sentence of gratitude, not for what I had, which was next to nothing, but for what I could still do. I can still walk. I can still read. I can still try. I repeated variations of that sentence for 1,127 mornings in a row, each one chipping away at the despair. Then I'd read just one paragraph from Epictetus, Seneca, or Marcus Aurelius, letting those ancient voices speak before my modern fears could drown them out. My favorite was always Epictetus. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Finally, I'd ask myself a single question. What is the one thing I can do today that my future self will thank me for? I jotted on a Post-it note and stick it to the cracked mirror, committing to finish it before noon. I began this in a Super 8 off I-75 with no money, no clear plan, just a cracked flip phone at 12% battery and a $2 notebook from Dollar General. That ritual didn't just save me, it became my empire, brick by brick, turning empty days into purposeful ones. Over time, I refined it further. The cold water evolved into full cold showers when I could afford a better place, building physical resilience alongside mental. Gratitude sentences grew into full pages, cataloging small victories, like the day I landed my first stable client or the morning I ran my first uninterrupted mile. Reading expanded to entire chapters, then books, feeding my mind a steady diet of wisdom. The daily question became a compass, guiding decisions from career shifts to personal boundaries. One Post-it led to learning coding basics, which opened doors to remote work. Another prompted reaching out to an old mentor, rekindling a relationship that changed my trajectory. This ritual wasn't magic. It was discipline disguised as devotion, a daily vow to myself that no external storm could break. Part 5. Scars as Teachers. As the weeks turned into months, I learned to view my scars not as marks of shame, but as teachers who had arrived uninvited, but with lessons I desperately needed. Take that scar on my left wrist. It came from a night darker than the one in Detroit, when I thought a razor might end the pain. I still carry it, and every time it catches my eye, I don't flinch in regret. I bow in gratitude. It taught me that pain is a brutal but honest mentor, one that tests us like fire tests gold. As Seneca once wrote, "Fire tests gold. Misfortune tests brave men." My misfortunes became my final exam, and instead of erasing the questions, I started writing the answers. Every Sunday, I'd open my journal to a blank page and title it, "What My Pain Taught Me This Week." I'd reflect on the lessons. Being ghosted showed me I was chasing approval, not genuine love. Sleeping on the floor revealed how little I truly needed to survive. My father's silence taught me that forgiveness is a gift I give to myself, not to him. Over the years, I've filled 612 such pages, each one a chapter in my PhD in survival. Those scars didn't break me. They rebuilt me stronger, wiser, with a map etched into my skin of where I'd been and where I refused to return. This practice deepened as life threw more trials. In 2012, a business partnership collapsed, leaving me in debt and betrayed by someone I trusted. Instead of bitterness, I journaled. Betrayal taught me to vet character over charisma, to value contracts as much as handshakes. In 2016, a health scare, a persistent cough that turned out to be stress-induced, forced me to confront neglect of my body. The lesson: health is the silent foundation. Ignore it, and everything crumbles. Even positive scars emerged, like the calluses from years of writing and running, reminders that effort leaves marks worth wearing proudly. I began sharing these stories anonymously online, first in forums, then a blog. Readers responded with their own scars, creating a community of mutual teaching. What started as personal therapy became a legacy, proving that our deepest wounds, when honored, can light the way for others lost in the dark. Part 6. The Power of the 1%. In the midst of rebuilding, I discovered the quiet magic of what I call the 1% compound, a slow, steady path that outruns the mirage of overnight success. Back then, I craved instant triumph, the kind that sells lottery tickets and empty dreams. But success like that is a fickle liar. Instead, I focused on the 1% each day. 1% better sleep by turning off the lights 15 minutes earlier. 1% sharper skills through 20 minutes of deliberate practice. 1% stronger connections by sending one genuine message to someone I admired. It started with running in 2014. I couldn't manage even a mile without gasping, my body a testament to years of neglect. It was embarrassing, humbling, but I committed to running just 1% farther each week. 3 years later, I crossed the finish line of an ultra-marathon in the Rockies, not because I was born special, but because 1% compounds like interest in a bank no thief can touch. I set a recurring alarm on my phone. 1% today. When it rings, I pause and ask, what's my 1% right now? Then I do it, no excuses. At 40, I still carve those notches into my life, each one a reminder that great things grow from small, consistent seeds. This principle extended far beyond physical feats. In my career, 1% meant reading one industry article daily, leading to expertise that secured promotions. In relationships, it was one extra act of kindness weekly, deepening bonds over time. Financially, saving 1% more of every paycheck built a safety net I once thought impossible. I tracked progress in a dedicated journal, graphing improvements to visualize the curve. Slow at first, then exponential. Setbacks came, of course. Injuries halted running. Market crashes eroded savings. But 1% taught resilience. After a fall, I'd aim for 1% recovery, not full rebound. This mindset turned obstacles into data points on the compound graph, each informing the next micro improvement. Today, looking back, I see a life not of grand gestures, but of accumulated increments, a testament that persistence in the small outlives passion in the spectacular. Part 7. Loving through loss. And then there was love, the part of life that hurts the most but teaches the deepest. You will love again after that breakup, and yes, you will lose again. That's not cynicism, it's the physics of human connection. Epictetus put it plainly, don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well. When I met her, the one who truly mattered, I loved her like a Stoic, celebrating her fully in the moments we shared, attaching to her virtues rather than her constant presence, and quietly preparing my soul for the day she might leave. We married in 2018, built a life together, but in 2021, we lost a child, a grief that could have shattered us. Yet here we are in 2025, still holding hands, not because luck favored us, but because we practiced detachment even while deeply attached. It's a delicate balance, one that allows love to flow without clutching so tight it breaks. I'm living proof that it's possible, that love can endure when rooted in wisdom rather than illusion. Our story began modestly in 2015 at a Barnes & Noble in Ann Arbor, where she reached for the same copy of Meditations. We laughed, talked for hours, and what started as coffee dates grew into a partnership of mutual growth. We applied Stoic principles together, premarital discussions on impermanence, agreements to focus on character over circumstances. When miscarriage struck, the pain was visceral, nights of silent tears and questioning why. But we leaned on premeditatio malorum, the Stoic premeditation of evils, having imagined such losses beforehand. It didn't erase the hurt, but it prepared us to respond with grace, supporting each other, seeking counseling, honoring the brief life through charity. Love evolved from passionate to profound, from possessive to appreciative. We now mentor young couples on resilient relationships, sharing how accepting transience deepens presence. Loss didn't end us, it refined us, forging a bond unbreakable because it's built on truth, not fantasy. One last thing, kid. You won't fix everything in this life. You won't achieve perfection. You won't escape all pain. But you will become a man who can stand in the fire without letting it burn the part of you that chooses. That is enough. That is everything. Sign this letter in your mind. From the man you will thank one day. Now close your eyes, take one breath, and begin. If this letter helped your past self, share it with someone who needs it today. Subscribe. Stoic Mindset.